Gentlemen, JP Alexander for the Rabid Dogs Unleashed. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a book called Bad Blood, Secret Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup, and a documentary I saw yesterday based on this book. The book's better than a documentary. The documentary doesn't go as in depth as the book does. Books are normally better than a movie of it anyway, a documentary of it, but it's a long read. I mean, not that long, but a couple of 100 pages long. How many 100 pages? I'm not sure. I read it a while ago. Maybe I finished a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. There's 303 pages, and it's a pretty good read. And the documentary is pretty good. But I saw a documentary yesterday, which prompted me to make this video. What's really weird? Let me just explain the case that it's talking about. A couple of years ago, this woman, Elizabeth Holmes, she was, I guess her parents were important or something, I don't know. She was supposed to be primed for greatness at a young age. And back years ago, she went to college, went to Stanford, and she dropped out after a year. She went for biology, I believe, and she dropped out after a year to start her own company, which, happens. IT people do it all the time, like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Zuckerberg. I think she wanted to be like one of those, and her idol was actually Steve Jobs. She worshipped Steve Jobs. She wore the turtlenecks like he did. It's almost like the guy in Apple now, the new CEO, wears turtlenecks. It's like, guys, you gotta get your own identity. The fact that you're all worshiping this one guy and taking his style, it's kind of sad. I think that's pretty sad. Come up with your own fashion design and the copy Steve Jobs. I think that's pretty pathetic myself. But you kind of believe it because she was young and she wanted to be like Steve Jobs. But she was in the medical field, which is different than the IT field. In the IT field, you could become, some of the best IT, I'm in the IT field, some of the best IT people I've ever met had no college experience at all. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates dropped out of college. I'm not sure if Mark Zuckerberg did. I believe he might have before he got a degree. So, but in the medical field, you need a lot more experience. You just don't go in high school and come up with these, you go to chemistry class and come up with this, these formulas. You need years and years and years of, I think, schooling. And if you're a scientist or a medical doctor, obviously you need a lot of schooling to become a doctor. You need, college and then medical school. So anyway, she didn't have any of that. But she wanted to make this device that blood testing is what she wanted to do. And it sounds like a pretty good idea because as it is now, a machine probably the size of this room takes vials of blood, probably this much. The vials that when you give blood, it fills up a couple of vials and they take it and they do blood tests on those different vials. Like one vial may be good to take a couple tests with it. And when the blood isn't good, then you need to take another vial to do some more tests with it. You just can't take a little, what I've come to, find out you can't take a little bit of blood and do every test because it's not possible. Some tests do things with the blood that you can't use it on another test. But she was going to come up with a way to get blood from your finger, like a little prick, instead of having to take, a needle, because a lot of people are afraid of needles. I've seen a lot of people who pass out when they have to take needles. They start crying and screaming, and they don't like it. And I totally understand. I'm okay with it. I actually like to watch the blood come out of my body. I got no problem with that. I actually enjoy it. But I'm probably a little sick, I guess. But other people don't. And I can understand. So when she's trying to make a device that takes two little things, this much of blood, and you could put that in a little device, like a miniature device, probably the size of this laptop, or the size of this book, a little bigger than this book, thicker than this book, and then you could put it into a cartridge which goes into the device, and then you know it'll do 200 tests. Now that sounds like where we are now, and that sounds like the difference between a 1905 Stutz Bearcat and a modern day supercar like a Bugatti. It's just we're gonna get to this point, but it might take 115 years to get to that point, and that's what it seems like. This technology now, it doesn't exist now because people haven't created how to do it, and some of the best minds in the world are probably working on this right now. But who listened to uh, Elizabeth Holmes, her pitch, and said, yeah, I think she could do it. College dropout at 19, she created this company. Now she has scientists working for the company, but it seems every scientist that worked for the company worked for XX amount of time and then left because they didn't see how that was going to happen. And her and her boyfriend, Sonny Bootswani, I think his name, you pronounce his name, he was her mentor, 20 years her senior, which really, that doesn't really, like, they said that in the biography. I don't think that really means anything. This is that, she looked up to this older guy. Okay, fine. And he made his money in kind of maybe not too on the up and up, maybe a little bit illegal ways, how he made a lot of his money. But she looked up to him, and he worked for the company, and they made people sign a confidentiality agreement. Now, how I feel about this confidentiality agreement, I think it only should be enforced if what the company is doing is on the up and up. If the company is doing is illegal, then the person has a right to blow the horn and say, I'm not going to keep this, like what was it, Philip Morris, tobacco. This, in the movie The Insider, if you got into a specific case that I know of, he knew that they put stuff in there to get people addicted. And, they said, oh, no, we don't put, yeah, they did. And they were lying. And I think he has every right to blow the horn on it. And he shouldn't get arrested. He shouldn't go to jail. And he shouldn't have his life ruined because he's basically blowing the whistle on something that's wrong. And the same in this case. The only, they said that they had people sign a confidentiality agreement because there was trade secrets. The only trade secret I could see is that the whole thing was just bullshit. It didn't exist. Like, she couldn't do that. There was no way she was going to come up with that technology. There was no way she was going to be able to take little bits of blood like this and do 200 tests on a machine this big. It wasn't going to happen. There's no way. In a billion, well, maybe in 100 and something years you can be able to do it. But she was not going to be able to do it. She didn't have the mind to do it. She just had an idea. And that's a great idea, but it wasn't going to ever happen. And I think most of the people who worked on it, after a while, they realized it wasn't going to happen. Like, a lot of people heard her pitch, and they were young, and they were idealistic, and they thought it sounded great. It did. And you want to be on the ground floor of it, so you join the company as an intern or what have you. Like, or the investors, too. They want to get involved in it because it could make billion. It could be like a revolutionary thing. Like, we all have the PCs in our home right now. This could be, we all have this device in our home. You imagine if you had a headache and you could just take your own blood, a little pinch of it, and then put it in these little things, and then put it in this machine, and it could tell you, hey, you have a brain tumor. That would be a great thing. Or you have the early stages of this or that. That would be a great thing. That would be fantastic. That sounds like something I would want to be involved in if it was really going to happen, if it was really possible. But a couple of questions, you would realize it's probably not possible, because if it was, other people way smarter than you would be working on it. And I'm not saying she's not smart, but she doesn't have the education to come up with this. And that's what I would have. I mean, I'm shocked she got to the point where people invested. They invested, I guess she got over $900 million of investments, and the company was valued at over $9 billion. I mean, to me, that's just shocking how the company became that big without really doing anything except people drawing the money. And the biggest contributors, or the biggest people who were on the board, were George Shultz, who was a Secretary of Defense and a Secretary of State, and Henry Kissinger, who was a Secretary of State. Actually, I work for the government, and we have a school called Foreign Service Institute, National Foreign Service Institute. It's called a couple of names, but it's actually the George Shultz Center. So he has his name on a school with very intelligent people, and I can't believe he fell for this. But maybe you could say he's old, and you know, I don't know. I mean, what I believe is maybe Elizabeth Holmes was 1/3 his age and 1/3 Henry Kissinger's age, and she gave him a good line, and they fell for it. But how people like Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden fell for it, and Harvard was giving her an honorary degree or some other kind of award at Harvard. I mean, aren't these people doing their homework and saying, wait a minute, what is she? She has a great idea, but where is this going? Where is the proof that she's going to get to where she wants to go? And, Walgreens, the pharmacist I go to, Walgreens, I almost want to stop going there because I feel stupid going to a place where the CEOs actually bought this bullshit. I'm actually feeling you people are supposed to be really smart and you have a lot of money, but you're coming across like a bunch of idiots. Seriously, I would ask. I think I would think I have a good bullshit detector. None of these people seem to have that. None of these people seem to ask questions, or maybe they do, but the answers she gives them excites them, and they go, oh, okay, good enough. But maybe you want to seem like you weren't duped, but I think you were duped because I want to see some more. I say having a business plan isn't enough. You got to show me something. Like if you see the show Silicon Valley, he had a business plan and some people were investing in it, but he's a smart guy. He is all about compression, and he's showing them what he's doing. So he had something he wanted to sell, and he had the technology. It's just that him pushing the technology out was really hard. She never had the technology. The technology, and some people said that it was comically vague or comically inaccurate what you would come up with, but people still were buying it. And I'm just shocked that she got to the point she got to. And her and her boyfriend pled not guilty. I don't think she's in jail right now. She should be. She should be in jail for 20 years for doing what she did. And they say, well, maybe she had a good idea in the beginning. Yeah, she might have. That may have been true. But after XX amount of time, she was probably aware that she couldn't do it. And they have a saying in Silicon Valley, I guess, with the IT field, fake it until you make it. Well, she wasn't ever going to make it. She was faking it, and how long was this going to last? The cards were going to have to fall down sometime, and they obviously did. And her and her boyfriend pled not guilty. He ran off to another country, I believe. She should be, well, she's not going to be able to pay the money back, but she shouldn't be walking the streets, and she's probably living in a mansion now and driving a nice car, and she shouldn't be able to do this either. I don't know where the money is she going to be able to pay people back? I doubt it. Where did the money go? It went into something went into paying people to create something that cannot be created. And again, that's just horrible. It's a means to an end, and yeah, the end finally came. But I'm just shocked she's not in jail, and I'm shocked it happened in the first place. It should never got this far. And she got some lawyers from Hillary Clinton's with a political campaign, and she got one of the greatest lawyers in the world. He defended Harvey Weinstein, and he helped Al Gore with the recount in 2000. And this guy's a piece of work. This guy comes across to me like probably one of the best lawyers in the world, but also one of the biggest pieces of shit in the world. He ruined people's lives, or attempted to, and kept lying. And then when it was found out that she actually lied, he jumped ship. Never apologized to anybody. Like, oh, I ruined your life, but that's just the name of the game. Is that really the name of the game? Is that really the kind of country we live in, that a lawyer could do that to people and not have any accountability? Is that what it takes to be a lawyer? Just you're allowed to. You're not going to be disbarred. He should be disbarred for what he did. He should be disbarred. And the woman who was on it, who was Hillary Clinton's friend or something, who was on, who was also one of the lawyers, she should be disbarred too. They should be disbarred and barred from ever practicing law again. What they were doing, because I think they knew she was lying. And at the end of this, this the the biopic I saw yesterday about this, the the movie about this I saw. Everybody was saying, well, she might have had good intentions, and maybe she was thinking, that she could really do it. Maybe she was, hallucinating she could do it, or whatever they were saying. But maybe no, maybe she knew she couldn't do it, and she was just trying to make a bunch of money. Why not? Why? Because she's a woman? I don't think that means she's not as greedy as a man is. I think we should stop giving her a pass because she's a beautiful woman and we don't want to believe it. She comes across to me like a female Bill Clinton, meaning in the way that they just talk to you and you believe it. They're low lives. They've done a lot of bad things, but even when they explain the bad things they've done, they probably still did it, but you can't help but like the person so much that you actually believe them, or you try to, look at their best traits. Like this one guy was saying, George Schultz's grandson, who is an intern and who worked for the company and who left, and who George Schultz, actually, I'm shocked. George Schultz almost ruined his relationship with his grandson over Elizabeth Holmes. I mean, family should, if he's telling you something, George, you should really listen. And, he said before George Schultz died, he made amends with him, but I don't care. That's still not cool. I'm not saying you have to believe your grandson, but at least hear him out and say, when he's saying, grandfather, this doesn't make any sense. You should say, well, you shouldn't say, I believe her, and I don't think she would lie to me. Yeah, she did lie to you. I'm sorry, and I hope you, before you died, you realized that. Um, but yeah, so a lot of, he was saying how he he quit the company and he had people coming after him and lawyers coming after him, and his parents had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. He should get this reimbursed. These lawyers should have to pay. This is what I feel is probably one of the problems with our country. These lawyers who sued him, who made him have to pay these hundreds of thousands of dollars to clear his name, they should have to pay him back, because it was all based on bullshit. He should get paid back by his lawyers. The lawyers should say, I don't know where they're going to come up with the money, but the lawyers made a lot of money on this case. They should have to give whatever money they made on this case to the victims, meaning him and this other young woman who was part of this too, who said she was, when she quit the company, she got a lot of a lot of flack from the lawyers, and they were threatening to ruin her life if she spoke. Like, I'm going to ruin your life if you speak the truth. How dare you speak the truth? We need these two people. We need these people. We need these people to make a lot of fuck you money. We need a lot of people to make a lot of fuck you money. Okay, that's what we're gonna fight so these people can make fuck you money by screwing over Walgreens, by screwing over George Schultz, by screwing over Henry Kissinger, by screwing over anybody who gave them one penny. We're basically gonna fight so she has the right to make as much money as she possibly can on something that's not going to work. And even beyond all that, people's health were in jeopardy. People actually gave test samples of blood that they were doing tests on that were inaccurate, way inaccurate. I mean, some people were probably hearing they had cancer when they didn't. How many people, I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know if any of them actually kill themselves, but imagine if you find out you got cancer when you kill yourself. It's like, oh no, it was just done on a wrong machine and it was inaccurate. That sounds pretty fucked up to me. I think you should really do some serious time for that. That is some messed up shit. So, I'm just speaking as a layman here, but that seems to me like there's some big issues going on here that, the biography I saw yesterday didn't really go into it. This book goes into it. This book only goes to a certain time. And this book was a few years ago. It was probably made, so it hasn't been updated. And I really hope uh, they both go to jail, but I highly doubt they will. It's just a shame how it got to be this far, and how you could actually sue enough people that they get this far. And she was on magazine covers holding up this thing when she knew it wasn't going to work. When she knew it was just like, let me see how far I could take this. Let me see how much I could bullshit people, and they're going to believe me. It's just unbelievable. And I don't know, man. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do something like that myself. I wouldn't be able to hold that up. Even if I knew it wasn't, I don't know. Maybe I'd do the cover shoot, but I'd be like this, like just. I hope it works. JP Alexander says, I hope it works. I hope we get to that point where we are able to do this, because right now we're not able to do it right now. And the buildings they had, the money they had, it's just unbelievable. How much money people are giving them. She just gave somebody a good line of shit and they believed it. My God, is this country run by bullshit artists? And people like to think they have a good bullshit detector. Obviously, some of the smartest minds in the world don't. And I think you're too trusting, is what I think. But I don't know, that's all I gotta say about this whole case. And it's sad. But if you want, get this book first, read this, then see the biography about this, the, 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 the movie based on this book. But this book is a great read. You read this, you'll be shocked that this happened and that it was able to happen. Again, Walgreens and another one, Safeway, the supermarket. It didn't. It said that in the book, but it didn't say it on the bio I saw yesterday. It didn't go into Safeway, but there were another company that was duped, and they said, well, we didn't really believe it, but we didn't want to miss out on the technology. Uh, really? It's like someone saying to me, I want to put a space shuttle on everybody's driveway. I mean, how many people would be, I don't want to miss that technology. Geez, that's not going to happen in my lifetime. I think we can all agree on that. How could you going to go from a Siemens machine, blood testing machine that's as big as this room, that takes vials of blood to do the tests she's talking about? How could you miniaturize it to something this big with too little? How can you do that? You can't. And anybody with half a brain in this field probably would tell you can't. Not right now, not the technology we have right now. Not that, again, 120 years from now, you might not have that technology. But as of now, we don't. So it's just shocking to me that people bought into that. And as people quit the company, younger people came in who were just yes people. And when they asked any questions, Elizabeth Holmes sent her boyfriend, Sonny Butswani, uh, to harass them and say, you just don't believe in the vision. I don't care how much you believe in the vision. I don't care how much you believe. Like me, I believe I can run a 4-minute mile. It doesn't matter how much I try, I'm never going to run a 4-minute mile. Sometimes you got to say to somebody, you can have the most dreams in the world, but it ain't going to happen. And I think he was just like, well, you don't have to dream. No, I have the dream. I just don't see this dream working. Like me, I have the dream I can run a 4-minute mile, but I know deep down inside I can't. Well, of course, I don't have that dream. I know I can't do it. Even in my prime, I couldn't run maybe a 5:20 mile on my best day, and I probably pass out afterwards. But again, uh, just shocking. And I actually feel not that dumb now when I hear that some of the greatest minds of our time fell for this bullshit artist is what it is. And that's what I think it is. And I think they should all go to jail, and they should be banned from starting any company anytime in the future, and the lawyers should have to be disbarred. and heads should roll. They're not going to, but they should roll. And that's all I got to say about this subject. Anyway, uh, if you have a comment, please leave it below. Please watch my video first. I'm not getting a lot of hits. I have to update my video. Obviously, I don't have special effects. I'm just holding up a book in my kitchen. But I'm going to buy a house soon, and I'm going to try to make a studio in my house and do better videos with some editing, some special effects, and what have you, to get a better, a better video to people out there on YouTube. And hopefully also I'll get some people to help me out here. I'm doing it all alone. So anyway, that's all I got to say. And JP Alexander for the Rabid Dogs Unleashed. Until next time, ciao.